Good evening, guys, and happy Friday to all of your sunshiny faces. Oh my goodness, guys, we've had a very, very eventful day today. Not super eventful, just like, I mean, I guess sort of, it wasn't, everything was sort of planned for the most part. But a couple of unfortunate things also sort of happened today. I don't know if you guys can tell one of them, might be able to, but I'll let you guys know all about today's events. So I woke up this morning, my mom actually woke me up at about like 8 o'clock this morning. And that was because we needed to go and get all of our plants that we need for our like window boxes and hanging baskets and planters and all that kind of stuff. We needed to go and get those today, and also whatever other vegetables that we needed as well. And so we had to go early this morning because my mom needed to be back by noon because she had something that was going on. So, and then my parents had something that was going on at 4 o'clock, so like we really didn't have too much time depending on how long the thing at noon took, like kind of in between there. So we were like, let's try and go early in the morning. So we went, like I said, 8 o'clock or so. My mom wakes me up. We ended up leaving maybe around 8:30, 9 o'clock, something like that. I honestly think we were home by about 11 o'clock. I think because my mom, or maybe 11:15, something like that, we were actually like 2 streets away, and my mom's alarm went off to let her know to be back by noon. And so we ended up, like I said, getting back, you know, probably around 11 o'clock-ish or so. But we ended up going, and like I said, we picked out that stuff. So we went to Menards first because originally I had seen they had the Bonnie Plants vegetables on sale for $3.99, and then you had like a 50 cent like mail-in rebate that you got back. I think it was the 11% rebate, and so it ended up making them only $3.49, which almost everywhere else that I had seen the exact same plants at Meijer, and also too I just saw an advertisement on TV for Lowe's. They had them $12 for $3 or $4 each. So I was like, okay, that's like 50 cents, you know, pretty much less than what the other stores were charging. And like even too at Meijer, you had to buy 3 in order to get them at that price. So again, I saw that as at a pretty decent deal. And when we went to Walmart, they were actually $5.49, which I think is kind of the retail prices on like the regular like mass market kind of price. But again, too, a lot of stores just, you know, had them on sale or whatever. So like I said, we went to Menards. We picked out a couple of those and a couple of, again, like plants for the hanging baskets, planters. So we ended up going there. We ended up spending a pretty decent amount of money. And then we ended up going to Walmart and picked out a couple of other just flowers, because like I said, the vegetables that they have were all more money than what we got at Menards. However, they did have a couple things that we saw there that were more money than what, you know, like, or not more money, but they were more money, but they had more variety than what they had kind of left at Menards. And then we found, though, they had a 4-pack of like the 4-pack cells of certain flowers for I think it was $3.49. And I was like, okay, that's not too bad. That's about $1 per plant or so. But like I remember last year we ended up getting some of the varieties at like Menards. They were like $1.99. And Menards had some single cell like planter, like single like plants, but they were more money, and they were, or not more money, but I think they were like $2.49, but you just got the 1 plant in them. So we ended up getting, like I said, a handful of stuff there, and then we got a couple of these like 4-pack cells from Walmart to just kind of fill in some stuff because we wanted some variety. We didn't want to just have like 1 plant for like every like planter, you know. We wanted to kind of mix some stuff up. So like I said, they had a couple of other varieties at Walmart that they didn't have at Menards, so we went and picked that up. Plus they also had a shade, I think it was maybe an Impatient or something like that, shade hanging basket for only 10 bucks, which again too I thought was pretty decent because mostly everywhere else they were at least over $10 for the hanging baskets, which is funny too because like I was telling you guys, they had hanging baskets at Menards last year. We went for one of the sales, they were $7.99, and so I was like, oh my gosh, that's a really good price. So like I said, for $9.99 though, I was like, oh, it's not very good. But at this point we were like, we're just gonna probably fill our own baskets because I have 4 really like somewhat nice like hanging baskets that I got at Menards like 2 years ago maybe, but for the last couple of years we've just bought like the pre-done like hanging baskets, and we just end up, you know, like, because they normally look a lot more mature, whereas like if you do them yourself they don't look as mature as fast. So so long as they get watered, you know, it'll take maybe a couple weeks before they kind of fill out the basket a little bit more. And like I said, the ones at like the other like stores that have them like the hung baskets that are like already kind of like filled out, and so they look a lot nicer and like I said more mature. Ours are looking like little baby plants are in there right now, so like I said, it'll take a couple weeks possibly, you know, at least maybe a week or two at minimum before they kind of really start to look a little bit more mature. So anyways, like I said, we picked that up. Then we ended up coming back home. We unloaded everything, and I was like, I don't really think that I'm going to plant anything right now. I didn't want to work myself up into like a big sweat or anything like that, because it was supposed to get up to 91 degrees today, and I was like, it's going to be hot. I don't want to be out in that heat doing all of those, you know, planting everything and all this kind of stuff today. I was like, and we can't plant the vegetable garden bed anyway until my dad tills the one side that's still not done. So we were gonna wait on that anyway, and then 2, he can't do it tonight because like I was saying, they had somewhere they had to be at 4 o'clock. So we were kind of waiting around and like unloading everything. But then I was like, you know what, I kind of want to go to this other local greenhouse that we went to a couple of years, because I remember the variety that they had was a lot bigger, and because they were just a strictly greenhouse, unlike a hardware store or like, you know, supermarket, you know, and they had, I thought, a lot more mature, like their tomato plants. We got like tomatoes off of them a lot quicker because they were a lot more mature, and so I think they start their seeds like earlier, and again too, they're very local, and so a lot of the stuff there, you know, like I don't know, it just seems like they do a better job, I think, at like I even follow them on Facebook, and like just educating too about like different types of plants, like all this kind of stuff is very, very informative, and it's really cool. So we ended up going there, and I was so upset because after spending, like I said, a pretty penny on all this stuff we ended up getting, and still not getting a lot of the stuff that we wanted. Like last year, I think we did pretty much everything that we wanted for the same price as what we had already done this year, and not gotten everything we wanted. Like again, to the hanging baskets, we're gonna have to make a bunch of those ourselves. There was, you know, again, we didn't get a ton of plants, like, you know, the flowers, we were a little short even too with like the vegetables, and like I said too, they didn't have quite as many varieties, you know, like, you know, again, mainly Menards, but then Walmart's price was so expensive. So we would go to the local greenhouse, and they have the best deals. I swear, guys, me and my mom both went, we're coming here first next year, because we were kicking ourselves when we saw they had full, like, not the big pots of tomato plants, but single like tomato plants, decent, fairly decent size. Like these ones are probably maybe close to almost being about a foot tall, you know, by this point. And whereas all the other ones that we had seen and picked out and stuff like that are maybe just like that tall or whatever. And so again too, they were all, and they looked so good. Everything looked so full. There was no dead pieces, you know, or dead leaves like among any of the plants that were in there. Everything just looked really good. They were only $1.49, guys. I was so upset. And then they had like a whole tray that you could get, and I think it was like a little bit cheaper. Like it was either 19 plants or, you know, something like that, whatever it was. And it was a little bit cheaper than if, you know, you were buying just the one single one or whatever. So, like I said, I was very upset about that, and it was not just tomato plants. It was all of their vegetables, and I don't really think that it was because, like, it's, like, June already that, like, they were kind of, like, marked down or anything like that. I think that was the regular price from the start of the year, which is awesome. So then we were going around and we were looking at flowers, and they have, okay, so Walmart's were $3.49 for a 4-pack of, like, again, different varieties of flowers. This place had a 6-pack for only $3.99, and they had way more varieties. So much of the stuff looks so much better. Like, we ended up picking out, because I wanted to do in our back 3 baskets, or not baskets, but the planters that we have like pots that we have the like our bistro light posts for. We have them in there, and so we ended up, like, I wanted to do like chrysanthemums in there. And so I found, like I said, I think we got 3 4-packs at Walmart, you know, so again, we ended up spending, you know, over 10 bucks on just that. But they had these ones that were so big, so full, and again, a 6-pack for the same price, and they look so much better than the ones that we got from Walmart. They just looked a lot more mature, like, you know, again, too, they had good growing material and, you know, soil, whatever it was. They just looked really, really, like I said, you know, already mature for, you know, again, like the price that we were getting them at too. They just, you can tell a difference between the 2 flowers, and like they weren't, from what I can tell, a different variety. They were just the chrysanthemums, and like, you know, I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. So again, we ended up picking out a handful of things. We even ended up picking out, and I think we might go back maybe as well, because they still had some other stuff there. Like we were actually going to get a hibiscus, because we do have a big potted plant that's in the back that's not, it doesn't have anything in it, so we're going to probably plant one of those in there, because we have is it annuals that are, no, perennials, no, wait, annuals, I always get the 2 of them confused. I can't remember. The ones that come back every single year. We have plants, like potted plants in the back behind the garage, and we have 3 of them, or 4 of them that we're gonna plant, like, you know, the ones that come back every year. Like I said, it's either perennials or annuals, and I can never get the 2 straight. But in 2 of them, I had a sort of like a hibiscus, sort of, it was kind of like a vining sort of plant, and then the other one was lamb's ear, and that came back, and that's actually doing really well right now. The other one's coming back, but I didn't really water it yet, because I was like, oh, you know, like I haven't really gotten into gardening, you know, so far to start off this year, but it doesn't matter. It's been hot, and we hadn't gotten any rain in a little while, so I really hope it still made it and it's not dead. But it was looking a little wilty outside, so we'll see. So hopefully that one comes back. If not, we might have to buy another one. But like I said, we're gonna get a hibiscus to plant in the other bigger plant, potted plant that we have, or pots that we have for the potted plant. So like I said, we're gonna go back probably for that. My mom also wants to get, which they had hanging baskets at the greenhouse, the local greenhouse, but they were much more expensive than really anything we saw. But again, too, absolutely beautiful. They were like nothing I have like ever seen at Menards or Walmart or anything like that. They were so beautiful, so full, so just huge, and like trailing like plants off. They were amazing. But like I said, they were kind of expensive, like around 30 bucks, which again too, I've seen some at Meijer that were about $30, and they didn't look anything like that. So I still think that that's actually a pretty good price, because like I said, they had some, and like, you know, again, it's also local business and a local you know, greenhouse and all that kind of stuff. So I would much rather support them than, you know, buying them at Meijer or whatever. But you know, like I said, they look so much better. And again too, we went to a different greenhouse I think last year, and their prices were like insanely expensive, like also too way more money than this other greenhouse that we go to. And I think the plants look better at this one than the other one that we went to. So like I said, it's definitely worth it to kind of look around sometimes and check out some of the other local, you know, greenhouses in your area, because it might honestly be a lot cheaper than going to, again, a hardware store or superstore or wherever to get some of that stuff. Or also too, plant fairs can sometimes be pretty good prices as well. My mom picked out a handful of vegetables for that. So we, you know, when my mom went with my aunt before, so we had some of those, plus what we got a little bit at Menards, plus then what we got at our local greenhouse. So we also got a really nice, because one thing I want to get, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was some type of, it's like kind of like it has like the basket hangs, and then the flowers kind of like hang, and they kind of open up like top down, or like bottom down, like they face down instead of like opening up. And hummingbirds actually really love it. We call it our hummingbird hanging basket. We get it every single year. They didn't have any Menards, but I remember something weird, like they either had them really early in the year last year, or they had them really late. And so I want to say maybe if we hold off a little bit, like they might be more of like a 4th of July kind of time, or like maybe a little bit before that, like maybe June they get their shipment of whatever type of variety variety that is, because like even at Walmart we noticed they had like a bunch of new things that weren't unpacked yet, but they had them outside. So again too, it's probably a new shipment of something that they ended up getting in that is more of like a later kind of variety of either flower or, you know, again, whatever it is, and they just kind of rotate stock, you know, throughout kind of the summer, and, you know, kind of like growing season and stuff like that. So we ended up getting, in replacement of that, was we got, I don't think they're impatiens, but they're like partial shade, and we want to do them on either side of our back door on the deck, like on the brick that's on our deck, that's like, you know, the house, but it's underneath our deck, and so it's shaded under there. But we got those so that we can hang these, you know, sort of like they're like a bag, and then they kind of have the flowers all like trailing out of them. And because they're so full again too, and I was looking at one at Menards and it looked nothing like, I said, the one we got at the greenhouse, which I think we got for the same price. Maybe Menards might have been a tad bit cheaper, but I honestly want to say it might have also not been because I don't entirely remember what the price was. But like I said, the ones at this place looked a lot better too, and they had a lot more variety as well. So we might go back still and get one more of those just because we want to do them on either side. And then like I said too, the really nice basket that my mom always gets for right in front of the door that we have like a hook for, so we normally hang this stuff off of there. Like normally that's our one expensive basket we get every year, is normally like that one. And then again too, if they do at some point have that hummingbird basket, we will probably end up picking that up. So I ended up getting everything planted for today except for the vegetable garden bed, and I also did some weeding in our front flower bed, which surprisingly I didn't finish the whole thing, but it did not go as bad as I thought. I've been putting it off for so long because I was like, honestly, it looks like a mess. I don't want to deal with it. And doing part of it today made me realize it's not as bad as I, you know, like saw it as. It's still a pain, and like because I was so just like exhausted kind of from doing all of the other planting and being in the sun, and like I said, it was 91 degrees outside today, I just, you know, was like, I'm just not gonna finish it. And it was also getting late. My parents were leaving to go, because by that time it was about 4 o'clock by the time we got everything done. So we actually ran out of potting soil though, so I didn't finish a couple of little things that still needed to be sort of potted. But for the most part, everything is pretty much done. We watered everything as well. However, I am the person that is always telling everybody and reminding everybody and to put sunscreen on. I never, ever, hardly ever forget to put sunscreen on myself. But because I originally had said, I'm not going to do it now, I'm going to wait until either later in the afternoon to plant everything, or I'll do it tomorrow. And I went straight from the store, and then when we came home from the second greenhouse, I ended up just going straight into planting everything. I forgot to put sunscreen on. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but I am like burned really bad. Like I said, I never, almost ever forget to put sunscreen on, and I am always the person that's like, oh, if you're going to go work in the, you know, flower bed, like don't forget to put sunscreen on, make sure you get your shoulders and your nose, you know. I'm always reminding people. When we were watering the plants, I was like, I never put sunscreen on. I was like, this is gonna be horrible. So yeah, I was in the shade actually a little bit more, because like when I was planting the like the hanging baskets and stuff like that, and any pots that I could take with me onto the deck, so I wasn't in the sun as much as, you know, like probably the 4 hours I was outside. I was still in the sun a decent amount today. And my mom actually, she got sunburn really kind of bad on her forehead, and I did a little bit, but like not nearly as bad as it looks like she did my shoulders and like my back. You can see the stripe from where my tank top was because it's pretty bad. So like I said, a lot of stuff ended up getting done today. Like I said, all of our window boxes, and you know, like I said, I still need to finish off a couple things with, like, again too, some of the plants didn't get potted in the certain pots I wanted to like transplant some of the stuff into, or we were going to move into, or whatever. Because like there was one, my mom got a what's it called, a dahlia at when she went with my aunt, and she has this really nice like looking kind of like potted plant like hider kind of thing. Like you can put the planter inside with the plants, and then it kind of is like a square thing that like holds the pots in it, and so it just looks nicer. So she has that, and she wants that on the front porch, but I didn't have enough like dirt to fill that other one in, so it's like out there, but it's just not in the bigger pot that it's supposed to be in. So like that's one of those things, and like I said, there's a couple other little things. So but tomorrow me and my mom are actually going to a flea market. So my dad has a long list of all kinds of stuff that he either needs to get or needs to you know, like finish up or whatever, so that when I get back I can hopefully get to some of those other things that I wasn't able to finish today. But like I said, we're going to a flea market tomorrow, and because they have it, I think Saturdays and Sundays maybe, but I think they have it like all, like, I honestly want to say they have it like not all year round, but they have it for a very, very long time. And so I think I always see signs for it but like it's always like, oh, this date to this date, and I'm like, oh cool. But like I said, I think that we're probably gonna end up going to that. Like we kept kind of saying like, oh, we'll go this week, we'll go this week, and we decided we were gonna go this weekend. And so like I said, though, it's good because my dad has stuff that he can kind of do on his own anyway, and then when I get back I can kind of do the stuff that once he's finished I can actually, you know, do and handle and all that. So anywho, again, we've got plans and plans of stuff going on, and like I said, lots of stuff getting done. But the unfortunate parts for today was we could have saved a lot more money had we went to, like I said, the local greenhouse first. And also too, it is always a little painful when you forget to put it on the screen on. So anyways, I will see you guys all in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love if you'd subscribe, and I'll see y'all for some shiny faces tomorrow. So bye guys.